Yes, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for me. So, why is Simon Jordan and the rest of the UK media so biased against Anthony Joshua? So we've seen in recent weeks as AJ announces his fight with Christian Pranga, which is basically a warm-up for his fight with Tyson Fury this fall. We've seen a lot of people in the UK media, be it Simon Jordan, Carl Froch, Gareth A. Davis, Paul Smith now, you're seeing him, I think I just said him, but whatever. All of these different guys, ex-fighters and UK journalists, who are basically all picking Tyson Fury to win without a shadow of a doubt, right? He's the clear favorite amongst the UK media. Anthony Joshua is considered a heavy underdog. And I'm trying to figure out where this underlying bias comes from, because it can't come from the actual facts, right? There seems to always be this benefit of the doubt that's given to Tyson Fury that's not given to AJ in so many different ways, right? Tyson Fury is allowed to have a crude sense of humor, right? When he fought Klitschko, he said the clit is getting lit, which to me is low-hanging fruit, juvenile, provincial humor in the first place. And it you know, it doesn't resonate with me, but a lot of people in the UK found it to be hilarious at the time. You know, Tyson Fury, he curses, he, you know, gets drunk in public. He's someone who's hypersensitive with the media, right? When there was the faintest amount of criticism from people like Simon Jordan when Fury was playing games prior to fighting Alexander Usyk, and it seemed like Fury was doing everything in his power to avoid that undisputed match with Usyk, Tyson Fury behaved in a Trumpian manner and banned Talk Sport from covering his fight with Alexander Usyk. So Tyson Fury's always been given this grace with how he conducts himself. He's also been given grace with his performances in the ring. When he loses, it's never really because Tyson Fury wasn't good enough. It's either because he was fat and didn't try, like when he fought Francis Ngannou, or he deployed the wrong tactics, right? People in the UK always believe that Tyson Fury is head and shoulders above the rest of the heavyweight division. They always place him on this pedestal. While with AJ, all of his flaws are magnified. You know, AJ has the meltdown against Usyk. Simon Jordan pretends as if that's just the worst thing ever said, when you've had boxers who've gone to prison for, you know, myriad of crimes and offenses. Boxers who said racist things, that's white boxers and black boxers, right, who said racist things. I won't lose to a black boy, I won't lose to a white boy. And yet Simon Jordan constantly goes back to AJ's 5-minute meltdown after losing to Usyk for a second time, which it wasn't that big of a deal. Like, the person who suffered the most offense is buddy with AJ, Usyk. If Usyk doesn't care about it, why does everybody else care about it so much? It's just bizarre to me. And then finally, the bias you see within the UK media is that they constantly denigrate and downplay AJ's achievements, right? Simon Jordan loves to say, oh, AJ only nicked belts against Charles Martin and Eric Molina, which is just a gross misrepresentation of his resume. Yet he acts like Tyson Fury, whose entire career has been built off of 3 fights with Deontay Wilder, one of the most wildly overrated and protected champions in heavyweight history. He makes it seem like that's greater than Muhammad Ali beating George Foreman. You know, that's greater than Buster Douglas knocking out Mike Tyson. That's where Simon Jordan raced that achievement, right? He seems to have this he does have this very strong bias in favor of Tyson Fury, and it's not justified in the facts. Yet he holds himself out to be this standard bearer of reason and objectivity, which I just think is total BS. So let's get into it, right? So let's compare their resumes. I took notes so I don't get on here just rambling all day. So I argue that Joshua and Fury have very similar CVs. I would put forth that they have good, creditable CVs, but not great CVs. So AJ's top 5 wins: Klitschko, Parker, Andy Ruiz, Dillian White, Alexander Povetkin. For Tyson Fury, I also have Klitschko as his best win, Wilder as his second best win, Chisora, Dillian White, and I couldn't decide between Otto Wallin and Steve Cunningham. Losses, they both lost to Usyk twice. AJ lost to Dubois. He also lost to Ruiz. Tyson Fury officially lost to Usyk twice. Had a tough fight against Otto Wallin, who AJ absolutely demolished. Had a tough fight against a debutant, right? This was a man making his boxing debut. Don't talk to me about UFC. 2 different sports. It's like comparing the rugby and the NFL. 2 different sports. Tyson Fury struggled against a debutant, got dropped, and won by split decision against Francis Ngannou. Again, AJ destroyed Francis Ngannou. And one could also argue that Tyson Fury lost to John McDermott. I almost said Doug McDermott, who's a basketball player. But it's John McDermott, who was a journeyman, right? Very early in his career. A lot of people, even hardcore Tyson Fury fans, think he lost that fight, right? So if we go back to the wins, they both fought an old Vladimir Klitschko. I'm sick of this narrative. I'm sick to death of this narrative that somehow Fury fought a prime Vladimir Klitschko and AJ fought an old, washed up, decrepit, octogenarian version of Klitschko, right? They fought Klitschko 18 months apart. It probably would have been sooner, but Tyson Fury, who has a reputation for playing games and dealing with people in bad faith and not honoring his commitments, never gave Klitschko the rematch that he had deserved, that he had negotiated. One, because Tyson Fury doesn't honor contracts, he doesn't believe in that. 2, Tyson Fury tested positive for PEDs, something that someone like Simon Jordan never wants to mention, right? And he always goes on about how Tyson Fury freed the heavyweight division from Vladimir Klitschko, which, okay, he gets credit for winning, for being the first one to beat him. I think he had been unbeaten for like 10 years through a lot of careful matchmaking. You know, he fought in the era of the fat cruiserweights who wanted to be heavyweights. So I give Fury credit for the win, but that's about it. Fury Klitschko is one of the most soporific heavyweight title fights of all time. Period. So they both fought an old Klitschko. So let's stop that. Their number 2 wins, their second best wins. Now it's debatable for me. I think Joseph Parker is the more credible name on AJ's resume, but I can understand why people might say Ruiz is his second best win, just given the drama of the upset in the first fight and then AJ coming back in the immediate rematch and basically shutting Andy Ruiz out. Like, we can't have it both ways with Andy Ruiz, right? On the one hand, fans say AJ is a bum for losing to Andy Ruiz. But then on the flip side, everyone claims that Andy Ruiz is a dangerous fight and that he's a good fighter and that he could beat a lot of top 10 heavyweights if only he had the motivation and the work ethic and any sort of discipline with what he puts into his body. But hardcore fans all recognize that Andy Ruiz is very talented, right? AJ gets so much ridicule for losing to Ruiz for one simple reason. It's the juxtaposition of their physiques. Andy Ruiz looks like the typical obese American looking to get their next fix of Wendy's and Ozempic. and AJ looks like he was carved out of marble. So of course that juxtaposition is going to create a lot of unnecessary drama and things that don't even matter when analyzing this fight, right? It was two heavyweights, and AJ got greedy after the knockdown, got clipped, and was stopped. I mean, but again, coming back and beating a fighter of the caliber of Andy Ruiz is a fantastic win that he gets zero credit for. He shut Andy Ruiz out. Absolutely shut him out. We saw Andy Ruiz against Luis Ortiz, who's Wilder's best win, and against Jarrell Miller. He was far more competitive against those guys. Even though I think he lost the Big Baby Miller fight and was gifted a draw, right? He was way more competitive. When AJ was totally focused and just stuck to his boxing, he schooled Andy Ruiz. There was nothing Andy Ruiz could do with AJ. I've always said, if they fight 10 more times, AJ wins 9 out of 10. And that night, I think it was 2019 now, like 7 years ago, it was Andy Ruiz's night. That's why we love heavyweight boxing. There's live drama, right? The reason why people don't like Shakur or Bivol is because there's no drama. We know who's gonna win. But let me not get carried away, man. Comparing their second best wins, I still say Joseph Parker is AJ's second best win, right? And for Fury, it's Deontay Wilder. We're one, and I'm not a big fan of boxing math, but Joseph Parker absolutely schooled Deontay Wilder. So that's point number one. Point number two, Joseph Parker is a champion who's beaten Andy Ruiz, who beat Zhilei Zhang, right? Beat Deontay Wilder, and had some great fights against Dillian White, had a great fight against Fabio Wardley, right? Joseph Parker is a very solid heavyweight. Again, not a great heavyweight, but a solid heavyweight. And I think has a much deeper resume than Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder was protected for his entire career, avoided tough fights, avoided mandatories, avoided unifications. Even with old ass fighters like Vladimir and Vitaly, he didn't want to fight them. You know, now Povetkin tested positive when he was supposed to fight Wilder, so that's not totally Wilder's fault for not fighting him. But he never fought a Povetkin. He never fought any of these guys. He never even fought like a Pulev, right? He fought bum after bum after bum after bum, right? His best win is Luis Ortiz. Who did Luis Ortiz beat? You don't know. His best win is Bryant Jennings. Luis Ortiz never beat anyone of note, pro or amateur. Facts. Facts. So I just think that this win is massively overrated. I think it's massively overrated. I'll move a little bit more quickly through the rest of the list. Dillian White. AJ fought an unbeaten Dillian White. Tyson Fury fought Dillian after he had already been laid out by AJ and laid out by Povetkin. And you had all these fools on TalkSport and throughout the UK saying that Tyson Fury was better than Muhammad Ali off the back of beating Dillian White, who was never even a champion. Again, these are Fury's best wins. I ain't make this stuff up. These are just the facts, right? It's not a trash resume, but this isn't an all-time great resume. It's not. So why is there this huge disparity? Why is one guy, situated so much more highly than the other guy? I can't understand it, right? We go down the list. Povetkin, in my opinion, yeah, you could say he was a drug cheat, but they all cheat. They all use PEDs. I wouldn't be surprised if AJ used PEDs. I'm not a fanboy, right? He's never tested positive. Fury has. Those are the facts. But it wouldn't surprise me if AJ tested positive for PEDs. I'll keep it real. But yeah, Povetkin, underrated heavyweight. The only guy he had lost to prior to fighting AJ was Klitschko. And Klitschko hugged and held on for dear life. and one of the worst fights. Like, Klitschko's had some bad fights, man. Listen, I don't think Vlad is as bad as his detractors say he was, but he has some bad performances. AJ, again, showed toughness, showed heart, got his nose bloody, got wobbled a bit, but stuck with it and stopped, in my opinion, a very good fighter. When you look at Tyson Fury, his 5th best wins are either Otto Wallin, again, who I already said AJ destroyed, or Steve Cunningham, a career cruiserweight, who didn't accomplish anything in the division. Steve Cunningham is best known for dropping Tyson Fury. That's no, and I don't mean that disrespectfully. Like, Steve Cunningham would knock me out, but like, that's the highlight of his career. Is I put Tyson Fury on his ass. He'll be able to say that for the rest of his life, and he has the video on the internet that'll always be there. So their resumes are not that dissimilar. I just don't see where there's this huge gulf between the two, right? Again, AJ, I'm just looking at my notes. AJ destroyed Ngannou and Wallin. Fury absolutely struggled with them. Both of them in their losses to Usyk were competitive, but somehow AJ was schooled and Fury dang near drew with Usyk, which is totally ridiculous, right? Tyson Fury in the first fight had, I would say, 3 solid rounds. He landed probably 4 really solid rear uppercuts, which outside of his jab, I think is his best punch, and gave Usyk something to think about. But he didn't win more than 4 rounds in that first fight. He didn't win more than 2 or 3 rounds in the rematch. Ditto for AJ. AJ had some moments where he put Usyk under a lot of pressure. Go look at Usyk's face after the first fight. You can't tell me he didn't get touched. You can't tell me AJ didn't have any success, right? When I think of a schooling, I think of, that's what Bivol did to that German guy, Eifert, right? That's a schooling. Usyk beat AJ decisively, again, in both fights, but he didn't school him. But again, AJ was pilloried. He was destroyed for losing to Usyk. Tyson Fury was celebrated. It was almost like a win. When at the end of the day, when we're talking about how many rounds were won, they both probably won 3 to 4 rounds in each of the fights with Usyk. Again, I struggle to believe there's a huge gulf in their resume or in their ability, right? So some of their attributes. Pros for AJ. AJ is athletic. I think he has good punch technique. Like, he throws the jab properly. He throws the right hand properly. Has a good hook, good uppercuts, right? He has good punch technique. Is he the most creative? No. Like, he is basic. But when you marry solid fundamentals with his attributes, and that's what I hope he's just focusing on. You know, whatever he's doing with Usyk, I pray to God he's not trying to box like Usyk. I pray that they're teaching him, like, you're a big, strong guy. Let's work on your conditioning, because that's Usyk's greatest weapon, is he's always in better shape. So let's work on your conditioning, and let's keep everything nice, tight, simple. Give me a good stiff jab, good straight right hand, good hook, good uppercuts, dig to the body. And I think AJ could still have a lot of success. But yeah, good punch technique, obviously great power, fast feet, and he's physically strong, right? And I think that matters when facing Tyson Fury, because Tyson Fury likes to lean all over guys. He likes to clinch guys, wear them out. But if you're strong enough and you can push him off, that takes away one of his best attributes. What are the cons with AJ? What are some things I don't like? Sometimes he can have the deer in the headlights situation, right? Especially the last real fight, right, against Daniel Dubois. He definitely had moments where he just looked petrified. I've never seen that from Tyson Fury. I have to be fair. Tyson Fury does seem to deal with adversity a little bit better than AJ. Maybe that's just down to Fury's been doing it longer since he was a little boy. AJ didn't start until he was basically grown. So maybe just being immersed in that culture kind of gives Fury a greater sense of calm than AJ. I would say his gas tank is average. His chin is average. He doesn't go to the body enough, in my opinion. Average head movement. And I would say he's a terrible clincher. AJ's clinch game is horrible. It's just, I don't know. His clinch game is horrible. Right, moving on to Fury. He's unorthodox. He's very unorthodox, switches, does all this, puts his hands behind his back, throws punches from weird angles, he'll fight with his hands down. When he's in shape, he moves well for a guy his size. I would say his best punches are his jab, even though it's illegal, he gets away with it and it's effective, right? And he throws it again from weird angles that guys don't necessarily see. And I think Fury has a great right uppercut. I honestly think if he knocks AJ out, I think it's going to be with that right uppercut. Even though we've never seen AJ too susceptible to uppercuts, I think that Fury's, he whips it. It's like a whip, but he's able to get his arms to the right trajectory and make contact. And he does a good job. It's very accurate, and he just kind of whips it to the point where it's not telegraphed. He doesn't have to load up, but he can still put a lot of power behind it. So I think he has a great rear uppercut. His cons. Fury has a bad chin. He's been down like 8 times. He's been down 8 times. You can't tell me he doesn't have a great chin. Great powers of recovery. He's got huge balls, huge cojones. I won't dispute that. Again, his body is open a lot. He's very susceptible to straight 1s and 2s to his body. And you can't tell me there's no vulnerability there because he wears his trunks up to his nipples. So it's not just about, I look fat and I'm self-conscious. Everybody knows he's fat, right? He's not gonna be able to hide his boobs, his back titties, his love handles, right? We all see it. So I think that there's some vulnerability to the body, which is why he wears his trunks so unbelievably high. I don't think he's that powerful. Do I think he's pillow-fisted? No. But I think people got carried away with his power after he stopped Wilder and stopped Dillian Whyte, right? Dillian Whyte, again, had already been laid out by uppercuts twice. So it's not like Fury discovered fire with that one. And Deontay has a good chin, but he's just so unskilled. And Fury always had his number. He just always had his number. And again, what did Deontay accomplish before Fury? What did he accomplish after Fury? Again, somebody please tell me what he did before Fury, what he did after Fury. And then try to explain to me why he's this great champion, right? Did Deontay give us some great nights of entertainment? Absolutely. The Stiverne knockout, crazy. The Brazil knockout, crazy. The Ortiz knockouts, crazy. But all of those guys were mid. None of those guys were champions. Well, Stiverne was. But again, that was just right place, right time. Klitschko's retired, so he got the belt by default. I think the dude, no, that was Charles Martin. Never mind. What else is bad about Fury? He's lazy and undisciplined. He cheats the game. He cheats the game. I don't know how you can look at Tyson Fury's physique. And of course, aesthetics are not everything. You can be a good fighter and drink beer and eat pizza and burgers and French fries every day and be obese damn near, and you can still have hands, right? You can still play basketball. You can still do these things, right? So I'm not gonna sit there and say aesthetics are everything, but Imagine if Tyson Fury took his diet and fitness as serious as AJ. If that were the case, I still think it'd be a competitive fight, but I'd probably lean towards Fury. Like, it'd be a solid 60-40 in favor of Fury. Solid, but he doesn't, all right? Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, the classic cliche. Finally, man, I guess I want to say that both of these guys have heart. Like, people like to question AJ's heart and his mental fortitude. And while I acknowledge, okay, he has had moments where he looked like a deer in the headlights, especially against Dubois, he's shown a lot of resilience, right? He got up against Dubois 3 or 4 times after getting dropped. Same with Andy Ruiz. He also gave Alexander Usyk his mandatory shot, which he did not have to do. AJ could have pulled the A-side politics that we see from a lot of fighters, ironically from Usyk himself recently, by dropping belts, not fighting mandatories, saying, I don't want to fight this guy. Who is he? He doesn't bring any money. And AJ didn't do that. He was an honorable champion who always faced his mandatories. Name me one mandatory he ducked. Name me one mandatory that AJ ducked. You won't find one because he didn't duck his mandatories, right? So I don't think it's fair to question AJ's heart or his mentality or to call him a flat track bully, right? Why did Simon Jordan and some of the people in the UK media say that? I'm still not sure. Like, is it a case where maybe, and again, I'm not trying to make this about race. Is it maybe a case, and to be clear, I don't think any of these people are racist. I don't think Simon Jordan is racist. But you could still have a bias for people from your tribe, right? And I think that there's something about Tyson Fury facing like these big, strong black men that is appealing to a lot of white people. And he's beating them, right? Beat Wilder, beat Dillian, beat Chisora, right? And they want him to beat AJ. And I think that there is some of that within the UK media. Again, I'm not calling these people racist. I don't think you're racist if you root for people from a similar background to you, right? You're only racist if you try to put down other groups of people, or you get mad when other people do it themselves, right? Seems like everybody can root for their own fighters except black people. That's the only time people really seem to have a problem with it. But I think there's some element of that where, like, Tyson Fury, he just gets the benefit of the doubt, right? We see it in other ways, like, again, with the crude humor, with, you know, the disrespectful remarks, with the way he behaves in public. If AJ was stumbling out of bars or was insulting Usyk by saying he only got the belts because people felt sorry for Ukraine and its war with Russia, if, you know, he banned certain media outlets from covering his fights because they said something he didn't like, how would they respond? How would they respond? Right? So there is a disparity in how Fury's achievements are looked at and how his flaws are viewed, right? You see that in the UK with Raheem Sterling. When he buys his mom a house, they say, oh, look, this flashy footballer is spending millions on his mom's new pad. But when, I believe it was Phil Foden or some white footballer did the same thing, it's like, oh, look how generous he is. Look at how he's taking care of his parents now that he's made it big in life. So there is that component as well. Again, I'm not saying these people are racist, but I do think that there is an element of racial bias. And Tyson Fury has always been given the benefit of the doubt and has always been viewed as head and shoulders above AJ, even though his resume and his achievements, and I would say the eye test also suggests that this fight is 50-50. So that's the bottom line. But we're hitting 30 minutes, guys, so I'm gonna wrap this up. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Remember, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm out. Peace.